All right, we are live. So where are we now?
We're on the Stanford campus, and we're gonna take a walk and relive some memories.
All right, let's go for it. Let's go for it. All right, let's get out of this car here. Get out of this rental car. Oh my God, I just smashed my lens. No, I just smashed the, not the lens, but the, the display thing. All right, so where are we? What are we looking at?
We're at the Raines housing right now. Oh my gosh.
So we both lived here, you lived here for 5 years, then you moved out to another place right nearby for 1. So I was for 3 years. And I have not been here literally in 10 years.
Hey, let's go by my place.
We're going? We're going?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Man.
Hello.
Oh, you're totally going?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, man, you're really going for it. I wish my car's locked. I didn't know you're gonna be that bold, man.
No, I'm not gonna go inside.
Go inside.
No. That's
Go inside.
That's beyond my comfort zone, but this was the building 216.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah,
oh, it's literally right here.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then this is where Shedden used to play volleyball.
Volleyball, see the beach volleyball. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's where we watched TV back in the day.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch TV in the lounge?
Yeah.
Or did you have your own TV?
I watched Wimbledon.
Yeah, I watched TV shows in it because we didn't have our own TV and we didn't have like Netflix back then, right? I don't think.
Gosh, someone lives there.
Someone's in there. All right, let's see. Point it up, point it up.
This one right here. Up
there, nice. We won't reveal the numbers. All right, shall we start walking back?
Yeah.
This way? All right, so this would be your daily commute. All right.
Yeah.
So your daily commute come down?
Yeah, then just walk a random path.
Did you have a particular path you walked?
It was so long ago I forgot, dude.
Yeah, so I was only here for like 3 years out of the 6, and I moved off campus for the last 3, but you were on campus all 6.
Yeah.
Completely, you were like fully immersed.
You want to go by your place?
Not really, but okay, I guess we will. I don't even remember. Do you remember?
I mean, I know you're in this direction.
In that area, yeah. I don't have many emotional memories here, besides the fact that I was completely unproductive when I was on campus. Like those first 3 years, I was like completely not productive. And the last 3 years, I became like semi-productive. So my associations living here is completely unproductive.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here, like all the memories kind of blur together. I guess you have a more concentrated,
not productive memory. Yeah. It was very, well themed. Yeah, not productive. So you have a mix.
But yeah, I feel weird being here actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I thought we were just gonna skim the outside.
Oh my gosh.
So these are graduate housing, so it's masters and PhD.
Yeah.
Masters and PhD mixed.
Wow.
And people have their bikes parked outside. This is wild, man.
Like if we did this a year or two after school, I would feel kind of natural, but now I feel like I'm invading somewhere that I don't belong.
Hey, somewhere my bike is here or not.
Oh my gosh.
Like I had a bike here for a while, but then I just left it because I was so unmotivated. I didn't even try to sell it. Because I think when I moved off campus, I just left it. Probably got impounded or something. That's how unmotivated I was during that time. I was just like, So the daily commute was this, walking, right?
Yeah.
So what was your mindset in the morning? So take me through your mornings. Actually, which way would you go?
Let's go this way.
Okay. So you get up in the morning. What time do you normally get up?
Get up at around, I forgot. Let's say 7:30.
Well,
that might be optimistic.
early.
Yeah, that might be
That's
optimistic. It might be like, say I get up at 8, and then at around, let's say 9, I start walking.
9 o'clock walking. All right, so you're walking the gates of the computer science building. It's about a mile away, right?
Yeah.
Around a mile.
Yeah.
And what's your mindset in the morning when you're walking? So you have your backpack, you have your laptop?
And I guess I let my mind wander, but there's usually some to do for the day, so that's in the back of my mind while I'm walking. Let's not get run over.
All right, let's not get run over live here on YouTube. Feeling this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's been exactly 10 years since I left. We got run over by bikers. It's been exactly 10 years since I moved off campus because the end of the 3rd year of our PhD was June 2009, right? And now it's June 2019.
Wow.
Exactly. I don't think I've actually even visited here. This side of campus, at least, the residential side.
Hey, can we cross the street?
Yeah, let's go for it. So like, yeah, I mean, this I remember. Like, you're just like,
I gotta step on this basketball court.
All right,
I
we're
used to do a lot here.
All right, you do your solo.
Yeah, just shoot around. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that. And when was that?
Like in the afternoon.
After work, or you go home first and then you get your ball, or what?
Yeah. Just I tried to exercise at some point during the day.
That's pretty good, man.
And
You're so much more disciplined than I.
Well, no. I mean, it's fun too, right?
Yeah. But it was a solo activity.
Yeah, it's a solo activity.
Was there anybody here ever?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah. It's like you and some other person.
But you both be alone.
Yeah, we'd both just kind of be doing our own thing.
All right, you wouldn't challenge anybody.
That's cool. That's really cool.
It's the basketball court here. Up here.
I think I was on this court and I was just thinking, wow, I passed quals, you know? Like that.
So what year was that?
That was 09.
Third year.
Third year, yeah.
So the quals were
were
they talks or were they exams? I forgot.
The
qualifying
so in
exam?
the info lab it was a 2-part thing.
Right.
So I took one part at the end of second year, one part at the end of third year. And the one at the end of the third year is oral. So
about your research or about other?
No, just about databases.
Just
in
about
general.
the field. I see.
Yeah,
I see. So that's kind of like understanding the work in the field in general. Do you want to this way? Which way?
The
old school way?
Yeah, I just wanted to visit the court.
Nice. Court's good.
Wow.
So then you were just there. You're like, I passed.
Yeah. Just I don't know if relief or joy, some blend of the two. Just like, wow, like I passed. And I mean, because that's a typical time where you could get kicked out.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm not gonna get kicked out.
In some places, they're much more research relevant, right? They're just like, are you making good progress on research? Do you understand it? And the other ones are just like, here's a test, kind of.
Yeah, this was more of a, here's a test. So there was no personalization for your...
Right, for your research area.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm of two minds on that, right? On one hand, yeah, obviously it's good to know your field and stuff. But on the other hand, it's like, it's really a lot of it's about your specific area. And I mean, part of the whole qualifying exam thing, I think, is like there needs to be a procedure in place for sort of like, I don't say kicking out, but encouraging students to leave who are not making satisfactory progress.
Yeah. So that's kind of the weird
thing. Was that
thing.
informally? Was that what you felt it was? That if you were making progress on research, you did okay. They're like, yeah, you can keep going. Or...
That's kind of my feeling. I don't know exactly what happened, but my impression of what happened was if you were doing a great job in research and then you borderline failed, they'd kind of find a way to push you
through.
They'll
save you.
But if you weren't doing so great, then that would be a convenient excuse to get you to do something else.
Yeah, because I mean, procedures kind of are like that in a way, right? Because like, it's very hard to just be like, all right, you have to leave, because it's like, what's the purpose? What's the rationale, right?
Yeah.
Unless someone voluntarily leaves. So like, there are these milestones in the way, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, because it's really different. Like, one, you're the bad guy and you determine that this person doesn't belong in the program. And then two, there's this objective test and you happen to fail it. I think that's an easier thing to...
Oh, I see. So you think that's why also like these sorts of general tests, it seems more objective, because it's not like, oh, you're giving a talk on research, we didn't like your talk. It's like everyone has to take this test.
Yeah, that's at least my impression of it.
Yeah.
I haven't been here in 6 years, so it's the emotional intensity of a memory is stronger when you first...
Yeah, so this is going on the main campus. I think I would sometimes get a coffee somewhere, like in one of the, maybe that library that's no longer there, like there was like a coffee stand.
Oh,
I don't know. Or we just get the coffee near Gates, near the computer science building. Yeah, you're just like in shock here. Your face just looks like you're in total shock.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me feels like I don't belong here. Like, if I were taking my kid here, maybe it would make more sense. Okay, here's the coffee stand.
Oh yeah, so the library is no longer there, but the coffee stand's still there.
Yeah.
Right, the coffee stand's still there. Well, I mean, the thing is, when we walked across like campus, I didn't relate to most of the buildings, right? Because we just, that's the thing. Like, if you're doing your PhD, you're just going to your office building, and all the hundreds of other buildings you have. You're like, I don't know what that is.
That's right. That's right.
But if you're an undergrad, probably. Oh, there's a Koopa here. Thanks. It's a Koopa now. Let's take a look at this scenery back here. All right, we can take a seat here. Let's do the first of our sit downs. Man. All right, so we're at the coffee stand, I guess, right behind us. It's kind of cool. The Koopa Cafe coffee stand, just one of these outdoor stands. It is beautiful out. You're just chilling outside here. So what are the thoughts?
It's pretty different than it used to be. This area, at least.
Yeah, just outside.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember there's just like large swaths of unstructured time.
Yes.
Large swaths of just unstructured time.
You used to bike around in random places.
Yeah, that was my first year. I would just bike around here. Just unstructured time and biking. But you had a little more structure because you had more group meetings and stuff throughout the week. And I didn't really have any of that.
But there was a similar feeling of being lost, I think. Just like not quite knowing what to do. Because, there is a lot of...
group meetings and activities.
Yeah,
like
but outside of that,
right.
You're basically on your own. I don't know, because my experience, I was an undergrad and went straight to grad school. So I really didn't know anything about life, I guess. Or just... I think all of my experience was pretty structured, and then so to have such an unstructured experience.
Yeah, let's keep walking. Let's go. Otherwise, we're going to eat up all our time at Koopa here. Keep this impromptu show on the road. All right, you're leading the way. All right, so unstructured. Talk about that.
Yeah. So it's just it's a weird feeling to describe to someone who hasn't been to grad school, but it's just. You feel really weird because you're working really hard, but you're not making any progress. You might as well have not done anything. And in some ways, it's worse than not doing anything because your morale's going down, your energy levels are going down. It's, it's tough.
Yeah. I definitely remember that walking, right? Every day you walk and you're like, what was the delta of progress from yesterday, right? Like every day it's like Groundhog Day. You're walking, you're doing the same walk from your dorm.
Yeah.
To your thing. It's like, what was the delta from yesterday?
And then that's a good point. Like, because you're not making progress, the years kind of blend together. Like when you think about high school, it's like, oh, freshman year, sophomore year, like those were 2 different years, but...
Even college, even undergrad.
Yeah.
Discrete.
But in grad school, it's just like one blob of time.
Well, especially because you didn't move off campus. You were...
Yeah, that's right. Maybe I should have, because I feel a little weird about having this 5-year blob of time where the years really blend in.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah, this is really peaceful. And this is really showing off the campus here. It's beautiful here. Well, that's the other thing too. Is like the weather was so beautiful here. The campus is so beautiful. It's not like we didn't we're able to appreciate any of the aesthetics, and also like there's like all these great talks going on all the time, right? Like amazing events and everything. I at least didn't appreciate any of it. I just would make a beeline from the dorm, the grad dorm to the office, and that was it every day.
Yeah. I think you kind of have to ignore some, or a large fraction of what's going on, because otherwise you won't get any work done. Like if you just took a picture of this, you wouldn't be able to tell what year it was.
Yeah, it's pretty timeless. So we can do a 360 here. Yeah, it is very timeless. I mean, they keep it that way.
People have mobile phones, but they had them a decade ago too. So.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, if you look from afar, right, you can't tell what kind of phones, right?
Yeah.
Let's do a 360 here. Yeah, there's all this new engineering quad stuff that wasn't here when we were around and such. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty backlit for the most part. But all right, let's head on out. But yeah, I mean, I haven't done this walk in so long. I don't have any real memories. That's the thing. Maybe.
It feels weird to have not been here for a long time and then to come back. It's like it should feel a certain way, but it feels different.
Right. How did it feel different?
I mean, I'm done with school, right? So that stress is gone.
That's
Okay,
so
they're taking
beautiful up
pictures
here.
of that.
We can just go walk.
Yeah, we can walk this way.
I remember graduation here. I mean, I had family come and we took pictures out here. And like, yeah, what did you feel during graduation? Because I remember I was off campus so we're just talking about this garden here, this sculpture garden. And I remember my family, extended family was here for graduation. I was in my robe and did the pictures. But I like didn't feel that much because I wasn't like super into it, right? I mean, it's more of a family event, obviously.
Yeah.
And I had accepted my job at Google then. I was ready to move on. I was ready for next things.
Yeah.
I mean, during graduation time, you must have been here. What was that feeling?
So I wasn't 100% done
Oh,
when
yeah,
the ceremony
yeah.
happened, so there wasn't that release.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
So it was more of a ceremony.
yeah, it was more of a
And
ceremony.
family and stuff.
And then, my grandma was there, and, I was almost done, so I was basically done, right? But yeah.
And did people like ask what you were doing next and stuff? Was that the dreaded question? Or
Not during the ceremony.
Not during the ceremony itself.
Yeah, that didn't
come up.
really come up. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So this is the main Palm Drive quad here. It's especially challenging to film because the light contrasts
watch
so
your step.
much. It goes between light and dark so much here. I guess that's why you need a professional filmographer, cinematographer, not just us. So this is the main Palm Drive, right? It's beautiful here.
I have a memory of I was walking down here, and then you were running, Phil.
Oh yeah.
And that was one of our early interactions.
A long time ago. It's probably our first year. Right?
Yeah. I was like,
Because I was
whoa.
like running.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
was
wow,
like, wow.
who's this guy? He's so in shape now. So disciplined. Well, speaking of that, maybe that's a good segue. Like, trying to form discipline while we had such an unstructured life. The one thing is that, like, unless your advisor is, fairly hands-on and very day-to-day running operations, many of our professors were pretty high level, especially if they're more senior.
Mhm.
Like, so it was very unstructured, right?
Yeah.
Because like, you're just there doing stuff. And I think a big part of that life was figuring out how to put that structure on yourself, right?
Yeah.
And like the running and like, like you're talking about the basketball, the exercise is one aspect of it. I remember for a while I actually went to the gym too, right? The gym was back that way. So I made it, when I walked back at night, I would go to the gym.
Oh,
I would try to go to the gym, but I never kept it up for more than a few months at a time, right? Because I think this goes with the whole like everything's a blur thing, right? Like how do you how long do you keep it up for? A year, 3 years, 6 years, right? It's like there's not a end in sight immediately. So like it's hard to keep up these habits, I think, without an extra, and like no one's telling you have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's not a grade for it or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, how'd you feel about in the minutes for transition?
The basketball was easy for me because I liked it.
Right.
Yeah, it was almost a guilty pleasure. And then as far as like keeping a structure, I just try to make my daily schedule as similar as possible day to day. So that way it was a little easier. Like I didn't have to think about working because like, of course I'm gonna work. Whereas if you decide every day to work, then I think it'd be harder to stay disciplined.
Yeah. But yeah, we're continuing to walk toward the Gates Computer Science Building, a home away from home. And what was your hours coming back? Like, when did you usually walk back?
Yeah, there was a lot of variation. There was one period where I would eat dinner at some point and then head back.
Oh, come back from the night grind.
Yeah.
Night shift.
Yeah.
Wow, the night shift.
Yeah.
And what did you do when you didn't do the night shift? Like, you just stayed home and...
I guess so. Yeah, the thing about grad school is I was basically always trying to work. And that was, I don't think that's optimal. Like you should like actively take breaks, but I always
You always felt like you had to be on.
Yeah. So I mean I think it's better to sprint and rest and then sprint and rest, but
So yeah, we're almost on the last leg here. So what would your feeling be? You're walking toward the building. We're almost, we are 100 yards or so away from your home away from home.
I always felt like there was some chance that I was gonna get kicked out. I mean, I don't know if that was subconscious or what, but like there was a little bit of fear that, I have to work, otherwise something bad's gonna happen.
Now, was there ever an external signal of that, or is that your feeling, or was that a pure pressure because everyone else was working really hard? Was that just purely you?
I mean, you kind of know. I mean, you measure your progress in terms of how much you publish,
Right.
and then like, I mean, you're aware that you don't have a top tier pub yet, right?
Right. Right. All right. So this is the building right here. Right here on this side.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we'll circle around the front. See if anyone busts us. I don't really want to go in because I don't want to get busted. I don't want to get busted for trespassing. But we can hang out over there.
Oh, yeah,
across the street.
yeah.
Safe distance.
Yeah.
Safe distance away. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like that, before you have that first significant publication, which could be years.
Yeah.
Right. And then you look at other students who have that already, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, I wish I could get that. Like if you have 0 major publications on your CV from 0 to 1, it's like, oh man. That's,
Yeah.
you
For
want
sure.
it so badly.
For sure. 'Cause I mean, I think there's some doubt, like, for me at least, whether you could do it, right? Like
Right.
before you've done it.
Shoot. All right. So this is the front entrance. All right. Let's go across the street to the cafe.
All right. Watch out for the bike.
All right. The bikers here.
And just
Yeah. Inside is where all the good stuff happens.
yeah.
So this is the Bites Cafe here. This is an electrical engineering building next to the CS building. So this is where we would get our coffees and such. And this is a pretty frequent hangout spot, right? I mean, professors would be here, grad students would be here. There's lunch and everything. This is one of the major hangout spots. We can go to the Nexus, the building next door for a bit too.
Let's do it.
Let's walk around. That's where we got other food items. But yeah, tell me more about this pressure that you felt and where that came from.
I mean, I think if you're in any field, if you're at the bottom, then you're trying to be not at the bottom, you know? I think that was.
But were you at the bottom just because you were starting out, or did you feel like you were at the bottom in some other way? I mean, like.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, what is it? I think for me.
You might be too hard on yourself saying you're at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah. I mean, I finished, right? So I was above a certain threshold, but I think we all have taste, right? We all have when we do pubs, even if you didn't know whether or not they got accepted, you have an opinion about how good your work was, and
you're like, this should be above bar in some sense.
Yeah, for me, I felt that something was missing. Like I kind of went through the motions, and there's
something missing is you felt like your work wasn't above some bar, even though you felt you've got all the parts. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, like it looks like a pub, right? It has an intro, it has the experiments and conclusion, but it just. You read certain papers and you're like, wow, like MapReduce or whatever, and you're just like, this is what research should be. I think I had
feels legit.
Yeah. You have a sense as to, because before you even go to grad school, everyone has an impression of what grad school is like. For me, there was this idealized version of, people write these great pubs, right? And I knew that what I was doing at the time was not close to what I was aware of going into it.
But you saw the best case, I guess. I mean, you're comparing yourself against the best possible case.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The aspirational. So this is the quad, the lawn outside the Gates Computer Science building.
Oh, yeah, this is kind of weird, yeah.
So we had this TGIF thing here every Friday, right? This was where there was, drinks and food and stuff. And I would look forward to that, right? My first few years. I would look forward to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna hang out here for a bit.
Oh yeah, this is.
This brings back memories.
Yeah.
And then we had it up on the roof, some kind of terrace, for a while too. All right, let's feel this. All right, so tell me about this publication thing.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly how it comes about, but when you enter the PhD program, at some point you're aware of what the highly cited publications are, and then you read some of them and you're just, a lot of different feelings you could have, like, wow, how did they think of this? And like, wow, this changed so much. And yeah, so as a grad student, the aspiration is to publish something that even if it's not of that magnitude, you at least have a taste for what impresses you. And so if you could do a fraction of that, it would feel cool. But my early work, at least, it just felt like the research environment as a whole, if you took away my pubs, it'd be roughly the same, right? Like it didn't really add anything, right? I mean, it literally added a pub, but it wasn't, like in any advance in a scientific field, it's like built upon, it's a series of thoughts that stack up to create something cool. And, you don't have to create the whole stack, but you'd like at least to be a part of some stack that leads to something interesting. And I just had some intuition at the time that my early work was not going to lead to anywhere that I would be personally excited about.
And do you think part of that was that you were handed certain kinds of problems, and it wasn't, and it felt like the problems you were handed from above were just not in a very fruitful domain? It was very incremental. It was very just like, try to look into this thing. And did you feel that was the case?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Like you weren't handed a platter of good stuff, maybe.
Yeah, like I said, like I came from, K through 12 school, and then undergrad, and then, I had summer internships, but that was basically it in terms of life experience. And then you're plopped into grad school, and grad school is a lot more open-ended than, say, undergrad or high school. And so it's a tough question. Like, how do you innovate, or how do you, like, when someone comes up with a cool idea, where does that come from? And to me, it was like the biggest mystery, right? And like it was something I aspired to. You aspire to come up with an idea that people ask you, oh wow, how'd you think of that? But given my limited life experience, it was an abrupt change in grad school, where you're measured by not mastering old material, but coming up with new stuff, right? And it took a while to develop a routine where I would be more likely to produce some research advance that I'd be.
And toward the end, it's fast forward to years 5 or 6.
Yeah.
How much did you get toward that goal before you were done and you're out of the research?
Well, I think I never quite figured it out, but at some point in grad school, I came up with a more modest goal, right? Even if it's not this like field-changing advance, just can I come up with a set of pubs that the research community has
values, some kind of values.
That's right. And so once I had that, I mean, it was a conscious decision. It was a conscious decision to say, okay, you're aiming way up here, but there are, like, to get a paper accepted, it's not like someone reads it and they say, oh, that's tight, I'm gonna let it in. Like there's a certain history from the field and so on, and like certain types of papers would have a higher likelihood of getting in than others. You could have your own judgment as to what the merit is, but
right, that is what the field is, right? Like it or not, this is the current state of the field, because that's what people who are evaluating the papers value. And you're like, if you like something different, you either try to do that and have a harder time publishing, or try to somehow adapt.
Yeah. I mean, there are stories of people who kind of go off the beaten path, and then later on it's recognized, right? And that was kind of what I aspired to early on. But then, after a lot of attempts that didn't really yield fruit, I just said, hey, I've been here for a while. I want to get out of here. So let me be a little more practical and focus my efforts on things that are likely to get published, so that I could write a thesis and eventually graduate.
Let's keep walking. All right, so on that transition, how much did you talk to your advisors about this sort of thing? I mean, did they have feedback, as in, like, did they want you to work on more? Did you feel like they encouraged you to work on these bigger things, or they encouraged you to be more practical, or it was very open-ended? They're like, yeah, just do whatever, and
I don't think,
because you made it sound like, in this story, you made it sound like it was 100% your decisions. So how much of that was your advisors talking to you about this stuff, and how much of it was, just you and they were hands off?
I mean, I think I was never really good at explicitly talking about these issues. Like, I think I would try to bring it up by saying something along the lines of, hey, like, I don't think that this is a, I don't really believe in what I'm writing. I don't know if I said that explicitly, but I was trying to...
Like, you weren't super feeling, you're going through the motions.
Yeah. But, you know, the obvious response is, oh, if you don't like this, then why don't you come up with something better, right? But, like, I didn't...
You didn't have anything better.
I was not equipped to replace it with something that I thought was superior.
So the status quo is we keep going on this project.
Yeah. And I think if I were to advise myself, I would, you know, try to read more broadly, like get exposed to a wider range of topics, so that, because I just like hit the same direction over and over again and like make some incremental progress, but like I think I would have been better off like spending time not trying to make direct progress on my current pub, but like develop my knowledge of I don't know. I'm thinking about this in real time, so
that's hard. I mean, again, it's hard because it's this trade-off, right, between working on what you're currently working on and then broadening outward. It's extremely hard because you're in a position where you're so focused on one thing. This is the bioengineering building, I guess.
Yeah.
Looks like a big toilet bowl. Is that the idea? It looks like a giant toilet bowl here in the middle of the toilet bowl. So tell me about this dining hall.
I ate here a lot.
Yeah, I ate here too. The salads. Good, right?
I got a salad here.
Bioengineering building
like 3
next
days a week.
Did you eat here at night ever?
Occasionally, yeah.
So they were open at night.
Yeah.
I guess you need an ID, maybe.
I don't know. Let me just try the door.
I'll try to get in. We might get busted and have to get kicked out, but you first. No, it's fine. Let's go upstairs to Pete's. They might be closed, but it'll be good just to see it.
Okay, yeah.
So the Pete's Coffee on the 3rd floor here, we definitely went to a lot. We definitely spent much time walking up here and procrastinating. This is afternoon procrastination, right? Pretty standard procrastination target, going to the Pete's Coffee. This toilet bowl structure is pretty awesome. Yeah, it's like pretty hard to film and walk and not trip and think about what we're gonna say.
Yeah, you have a tough job. I'm just walking.
We covered the main spots we go to, right?
Yeah.
Just around the office and the walk. All right, let's look at the Pete's Coffee here. Work of beauty here. Pete's Coffee.
And it just closed.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to be open at night. But yeah, it's beautiful up here. It's beautiful trees all around. But yeah, so go back to the topic of, you know, working with your advisors on thinking through these big pictures. Because I'm sure it wasn't like, oh, one day you just snap your fingers like, oh, I'm going to do something more practical, you know, slam out some publications and graduate. It can't be that easy to do.
Well, or I guess it was more like I was spinning my wheels on, so it was basically between 3rd year and 4th year where I kind of got a feel for what was my most likely path out of here.
And then you're like, all right, let's go for that in 2 years.
Yeah, that's right.
And did you communicate that with your advisors? Like, okay, I want a more practical path. We need to get some publications out. Or were they like, all right, Robert, you got to get some stuff out, you know?
No, I think it was just, the goal is always to publish, I guess.
Right.
But I was doing, I think naturally I like to hack and I like to build things. But it was kind of clear that would lead to maybe a demo, but it wouldn't lead to like a full publication. Right. And then so I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then the theoretical stuff of my the theoretical component of my work, I at some point I said, oh, if I build this out, like, or you know, build out the theory, then
so that's a clear path to publication.
That's right.
Developing the theory better rather than building a more robust system.
That's right.
Something.
Yeah,
that's right. So like the 100 hours I spend writing software is not gonna be as good as 100 hours building a formalism, writing it up well, figuring out how to relate it to other work.
Yeah, I want to make a point that like I was very highly motivated by building something that other people would actually use. But once I made my primary goal to graduate,
Right.
I made a conscious decision to drop that goal of building a software system that people would use.
Right.
Because this combination of something that's useful and something that's novel
And publishable, yeah. Very hard.
It's very hard. So I think it's easier to optimize for I want to publish something.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great insight. I guess we're one more floor down.
I mean, Phil, you had similar ambitions too, right? You wanted people to use what you built.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean that was the story of the PhD grind. One of the stories. That's right.
Except in your case, you actually did it, right? To a certain extent, like Python Tutor, people use it. That's the backbone of your research.
Yeah, I mean, in grad school, the CDE stuff, which was the software packaging thing, which we can just hang out in the quad here, finishing up, got 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I got usage from the CDE system I built. We got a few thousand downloads. People were feeling it. I mean, this is right before the Docker days, right before Docker really came on the scene, and people were really interested in this virtualizing, packaging up software, running on the cloud. So like there was a vibe behind it, and I got some small papers out of it too. But there was a sense definitely from the research community in systems that this was kind of it was more of an engineering hack, right? It wasn't a big idea. It wasn't, this was not the next MapReduce, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I did get some small papers out of that, which was, which is gratifying, right? And that helped me meet Margot Seltzer, who became kind of my on my thesis committee and was very instrumental to, writing recommendation letters for me to apply for faculty positions and stuff. So like, I felt like it worked out for me, that pursuing that goal. This InkPy, which was this Python interpreter I made, which for this Providence workshop, right? That I really wanted to get. I wrote about this in the PhD grad. I really wanted to get users. I didn't end up getting many users, but I ended up using that to go give talks. I gave a talk at Berkeley, their lab, and that was where I met Fernando Perez, who created IPython and Jupyter, right? The Jupyter Notebook project. So that was very instrumental in helping me get into computational science and data science and stuff. And then later the CDE system got, thousands of users. I actually spent a lot of time fixing bugs and making stuff. And it was very gratifying. And I managed to use it as my dissertation, part of my dissertation. And I met people like Margot and such from it. And again, it wasn't going to be a highly cited best paper, but I felt like that was, gratifying. That I was able to get some publications out of some very practical sorts of systems things. And I think it's by field, right? Like in something like databases or in more theoretical areas of computer science, that may not be as valued as much.
That's true. So I made a lot of generalizations, but they apply most to my particular field.
Right. And I think a lot of fields are like that, right? I mean, any kind of algorithmically driven field, it's about the techniques and even in like programming languages or in software engineering, a lot of times, building a practical tool is great, but really it's about what is the algorithm, what's the new technique, what is the new paradigm that you're pushing forward with your prototype. Even in HCI is the same way, right? It's like, having people be able to use it is great, but it's really a new kind of interaction idea that's, very out of the box and stuff and such. But man, yeah, we learn things the hard way.
It's great to be back here though. I avoided it for the longest time, but yeah.
So we made the full journey from our graduate housing all the way out to to the Gates Computer Science building and this bioengineering building where we got our food. All right, what are our final thoughts wrapping up?
Grad school feels good once you're on your way out, I think.
Another quote.
Did that sound pessimistic? I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I just mean like it's uncertain whether or not you're going to get out until toward the end, and then you feel a sense of accomplishment even before it's finally done, right?
Yeah. And when did that come for you? I mean, when did you feel like, okay, I feel legit enough to graduate, or I have my advisor's blessing to graduate? When was that?
Basically like a year before.
All right, 1 year. That's good. And did you have all the publications then, or were you submitting the last one?
I don't know if they were in or not, but they were
submitted enough that your advisor's like, all right, you made a good effort.
Yeah, there was some communication that this is going to be your thesis, basically.
Right. That it was, even if, you did this, the work was substantial enough that if things don't get in or things are delayed, it's the review process.
Yeah, then it's a technical report, right?
Right. Oh, that's right. And it's also part of your dissertation too. I mean, you can put it in your dissertation as well.
Yeah, I mean, because just to be real, like, there are some students who will not get out with a degree, right? There are some students who quit at some point because
right.
they're not making enough progress. And so as a student who hasn't succeeded yet, you're wondering which bucket are you in.
Right. No, I think I really, yeah, I mean, I think it's a real concern. I don't want to downplay that at all. I mean, I think it's completely real because I think we both felt that. And I didn't feel like I had the quote unquote green light to graduate until pretty much my last year, right? Until my last year. I think both of us were, around after year 5, after 5 years. And then in our 6th year, it's like, all right, this is about that time. No, I mean, it's hard to, we have to reconstruct that memory to empathize with it, but it's important to empathize with it. Shoot. All right, any last thoughts? Give me the final word here.
It's great to be back. I'm surprised. I mean, a lot has changed, but a lot looks very similar to, even 13 years ago. It's pretty cool. I'm happy that that we did this. I've been avoiding it for the longest time, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, I'm feeling this too, and it's good to reflect. All right, any other parting thoughts of wisdom?
That's it, man.
That's it. All right. Well, hopefully we'll be back here before another 13 years or so. All right, until next time. All right, where was our post-mortem debriefing?
Thought we were
walking
done,
back.
Dude.
No, we're walking back here. This is the walk back. How's it feel?
It feels like I accomplished something.
Do you mean the walk or
the walk? Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah. This is a life experience for me to come back here.
I mean, I didn't actually feel much doing this.
Really? That's pretty funny.
Because I think that like all of my non-productivity in grad school and the research front had been replaced by the last, 6 or 7 years where I was relatively productive, right? So, my memories of being in research have been replaced with, I've actually been, doing, things are moving along for the past 6 or 7 years. So. But for you, it's like very different, right? Because your progress is in a very different front.
Yeah.
It's like it's a different bucket in your brain.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, like, I guess you've obviously been very productive in the last 6 or so years since we graduated. We've been, another milestone, right? We've been out of our PhD as long as we've been in it. Pretty much, right? Around that 6 to 6 years.
Yeah, that's right.
So you've obviously had 6 years of, very productive career growth and stuff.
Yeah.
And how do you think that stacked up against those 6 years you're in grad school?
Yeah, it's tough to compare the two. People ask a lot, like, oh, do you regret doing the PhD? Because if you're a professor, obviously you directly applied it, right? But like especially if you're doing a startup, there's no, in some ways PhD is you'd be better off saying you're a dropout PhD than an actual PhD. It has more startup cred. But no, I've never regretted the PhD just because of the people you meet. And I think even when you feel like you're failing in the research, I think there's some learning you do that's generalizable to things other than research.
Like formatting LaTeX documents?
Just thinking about open-ended problems and having taste for which direction you want to pursue.
And just like figuring out how to structure your days even, right? Especially for, since you were doing entrepreneurship and for the first 2 years, it was a one-man show.
Yeah.
Did you feel like that was very open-ended as well, that you had to figure out how to structure your days?
Yeah. So I try to, I don't know if I tried to, but it ended up having a similar structure to grad school. Mm-hmm. Instead of the office, it's a coffee shop, but you have 4 2-hour chunks per day, basically.
Right.
Of working, and I feel pretty comfortable with that routine.
And so, when you're walking back, what was this? Is a Hoover Tower here? Is that the tower?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
And when you're walking back, what would your mindset be on, good days or bad days, I guess?
I think naturally I'd just be thinking about research because you just did it, right? Mm-hmm. And then your mind's wandering. And I think walking allows you to be allows the ideas to collide a little
And
bit.
do you think that was productive sometimes?
Oh, walking, yeah,
Definitely
for
productive.
sure.
Definitely productive.
For sure, yeah.
So getting away from the computer.
Yeah. Like not so much that like every day you come back from the walk with
Like
some
brilliant,
insight. But I think the amount of good ideas I've had walking might be higher than the amount of good ideas I had in my chair.
Yeah, and I think that's a very natural thing a lot of people say. But then, of course, that presupposes that you've done a lot of time in your chair on your computer.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't just walk 24 hours a
That's
day
true,
and come up with anything.
Yeah, they complement each other.
Yeah. So I think that's great. And then part of that, I really like that forced walking and this walking commute is that it gives you that time. Right? Whereas if you're biking or driving, you're like really focused on doing that.
And it's forced exercise too.
It's all nice and related.
Yeah.
And it's nice that it's, usually pretty nice out here too. So then when you go home, you're back in your, your room where we started. Do you just kind of shut your mind out from research? You veg out, or was it still in your mind?
The strongest memories I have are the ones where I ate dinner, then I came back to Gates.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would eat dinner somewhere, come back to Gates, spend another 2 hours, and then head home.
And did you have stuff to do during that afterward period? Like, were you strongly motivated during those times? You're like, I got something else, I have something more left in me. Or do you feel like out of obligation you came back?
No. It's very interesting that there was so much time spent where I felt pretty motivated. But then the natural question is, what'd you get done? And I don't recall what I got done, but I do recall feeling pretty excited about working on something.
Was it because it was coding related? Like you're working on coding and building a system, so that is immediately motivating?
Yeah. I did spend a lot of time at night.
Like the nighttime was a code. It wasn't like I'm going to work on this proof. I'm going to write up this paper introduction again.
That's right. For the most part,
very coding related.
If I remember correctly, it was coding.
That makes sense. I mean, because that gives you that concrete, coding and getting something working code gives you that concrete high that rewriting the abstract the 20th time and getting comments back does not.
I hated writing. Yeah.
We're gonna just really clip out these clickbait sound bites here.
No. I'm not. My opinions aren't worth anything, but I'm just giving my honest ones. Yeah, I hated writing as a grad student.
Oh man.
No, you should like writing. I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of value in it, but, and I didn't hate it the whole time, but, yeah, I enjoyed coding more.
Well, I mean, that gets back to the whole thing of, you wanted to build something usable that people wanted to use. And did you also want to get publications out of that? I mean, was that the golden trifecta?
Yeah, that's right. There's some intersection between people using it and the research community likes it.
Yeah.
Which is tough, yeah.
Yeah, so we're about to get back to the car. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, why don't you reminisce, Phil? I think I talked too much.
Yeah. I don't really. I mean, that's maybe that's surprising, right? That no, I don't actually have memories. I think I run over by circle people. All right, let's see people in the circle. I think it's because, like I was saying when we were first starting, I was only here for 3 years, and then the other 3 years I was off campus. So, in a way, my 3 years of the first 3 years of grad school being very unproductive, going through the same things you did and same situations that you did and many other people did. That was, in a sense, somewhat replaced by my second 3 years where I was off campus and I was more productive relatively. And I felt like I had a redeemer toward the end of grad school, right? I felt like I had a good redemption toward the end.
Yeah, I feel probably a lot more vulnerable making this walk than you do because I feel like that kid with 0 pubs, but older, I guess. The walk is a little tougher than it used to be.
Yeah, like physically. Right? This is like we did probably a mile and a half that way, right?
Yeah.
Walking around,
Yeah.
and a mile and a half back. It was like a 2.5, 3 mile walk while lugging this camera and trying to actually say something sensible and attempting to say something half sensible. But yeah, I mean, the nighttime I kind of felt. I mean, part of what I felt at night, after getting back to our apartments was I explored some side projects, right? Like I would code at night. I would look up stuff. I think I did some side projects, maybe not a ton, but should we walk through?
Yeah.
You just want an excuse to walk through the more quarters. But I felt like I did, explore my curiosity in terms of programming and other kinds of prototyping sorts of things that were not necessarily related to my research, right? I think that was definitely a positive that came out of this time. Whereas if I was in a more mainstream job, maybe I would have been very engaged in my job and not thinking about more open-ended things at night. So I do have reasonably good memories at night here of, working on side projects or reading. I actually spent a decent amount of time reading just like nonfiction books about history or technology or society and stuff. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. And then we repeat, and the next day is Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Do it all over again. Or how many days? I mean, how many days was it for you? Groundhog Day.
Oh, wow, yeah. If you do the math, it's like 2,000, right?
Yeah. 2,000 walks.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe that's the name of your memoir, 2,000 walks. I hope our car didn't get stolen.
No.
We just
we're
parked.
not there yet.
Why do we park so far back?
I know that was the best part.
Oh, you wanted to walk through the whole
Yeah,
section, right?
we had to start where my apartment actually was.
Oh, is
316.
that where you parked? Is that why we parked there?
No, I mean, it just happened to be, but I think it's good though.
All right, which car is ours? Oh, we're way back there.
Yeah, way back there.
But yeah, I'm glad we got to do this because our normal default is doing the conference room at your office, and we're in the conference room. And so whenever I come visit the Bay Area, we try to do an hour or something, right?
Yeah.
To do something. But this is like doing that same podcast, but I think it's open. This is doing the same podcast, but out in the field. All right, signing off.
Yeah.
All right, it's good. Let's get dinner. All right, let's go for it. See ya.